everybody to the reorganization meeting for the Edison Board of Education. We'll do the flag salute and the opening statement and all that stuff, but I have to do one thing first, because right now I only have 6 board members. I have 3 board members to swear in right now, so I have a full board of 9. So I'd like to, I'll swear them in the order of the number who got the most votes, and that would be Mrs. Ward first. So if you'd meet me up front.
Okay, you want me to go up there now?
Swear.
Go, Andy. You better speak nice and loud. You got it loud, okay?
Yes.
Here.
And you're going to speak slowly, right?
If you place your left hand on the Bible, raise
My
your
left
right
hand? Okay.
Raise your right hand.
Oh, I have to raise my right hand. All right, I'll stick this right here.
Okay.
Bingo. Okay.
All right. I state your name.
I, Teresa Ward,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United
and
States
this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Teresa Ward,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly
that I
swear
possess
that I
the
possess
qualifications prescribed by law,
the qualifications for the office
prescribed by law, prescribed by law,
prescribed by law
for the office of member
for the office of
of a Board of
member
Education,
of the Board of Education,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully
impartially,
and impartially
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Teresa
Do
Ward,
solemnly swear
do solemnly
and
swear
declare
and declare
that I am not disqualified as a voter
that I am not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to
pursuant to
RS
RS
19 4-1,
4-1,
and that I'm not disqualified
and that I am not disqualified
to hold this office
to hold this office
due to conviction of a crime
due to commission of a crime
listed in NJSA,
and
listed in NJSA
listed in NJSA
18A
18A
12.1.
.1.
You got it.
Okay.
Congratulations.
You too. Thank you. And thank you. Okay, take care. Okay.
Okay. You know what? Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Repeat after me.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Shannon Payne,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Shannon Payne,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I
the
possess
qualifications prescribed by law
the qualification prescribed by law
for the office of member
for the office of member
of a Board of Education,
of a Board of Education,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
perform
all the duties of that office
all the duty of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Shannon Payne,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
and declare
and declare
that I am not disqualified as a voter
that I'm not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to
pursuant to
RS
RS
19-4-1,
19-4-1,
and I am not disqualified
and I'm not disqualified
to hold this
to
office
hold this office
due to a conviction of a crime
due to a conviction of a crime
listed in
listed in
NJSA
NJSA
18A
18A
12-1.
12-1.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Brescher? Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Richard Brescher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Richard Brescher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I
the
possess
qualifications prescribed by law
the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
for office of board
office of member of a Board of Education,
for office of member of Board of Education,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all duties of that office
perform all duties of that office
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
Okay.
So help me God.
Accepted
I
her.
state your name.
I, Richard Brescher,
Do solemnly swear and
Do
The
declare
nomination.
do solemnly swear and declare
that I am not disqualified as a voter
that I am not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to
pursuant to
RS
RS
19-4-1,
19-4-1
and I'm not disqualified
We have
I
a
am not
substitute
disqualified.
lawyer
hold this
tonight.
office
to hold this office
due to a conviction of a crime
due to a conviction of a crime
listed in NJSA
listed in NJSA
18A
18A
12-1.
12-1.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Okay, now if everyone would join me for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now that I have 9 board members, I will call the roll, and this is the only time we normally would call it in alphabetical order, because normally we do it by seniority. So in alphabetical order, Mr. Brescher? Here. Mr. Errico?
Here.
Mr. Heelan? Dr. Heelan?
Here.
Mrs. Madiger?
Here.
Mrs. Maroney?
Here.
Mrs. Payne?
Here.
Mr. Shi?
Here.
Mrs. Ward?
Here.
All present with Mrs. Ames. Now the opening statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the Edison Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education administrative offices. Copies of these notices were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 7th, 2016. The public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws and applicable state regulations. Now I'd like to announce what the official results were at the election. I'm happy to say we had the highest, by far, the highest turnout we ever had. Of course, that's because of the presidential election, of course, but in the past, we barely broke, most of the time, we break 10 to 11%. Since we moved it to November, we've been hitting more like 20 to 22%. I think 23 is the highest we ever had. We actually had 48.91% of turnout, which was fantastic. The highest vote getter out of the 4 board members who ran, or the 4 candidates who ran, was Mrs. Ward with 13,345 votes. Second was Mrs. Payne with 12,199 votes. Third was Mr. Brescher with 11,974 votes. And fourth was Mr. Arujo with 11,824 votes. Now, at this time, I would like to take nominations for President of the Board of Education. Do I have a motion? Mrs. Maroney.
I would like to nominate Dr. Frank Heelan for President of the Board of Education.
Okay, is there a second?
I would like to second Dr. Heelan.
Okay, Mrs. Ward. Okay, any other nominations for President? Seeing none, I'd like the motion to close nominations.
Close.
Close, Ms. Errico
Second.
and Mr. Shi. Okay, I will now take a vote for, well, there's only one person, but I'll take a vote anyway, just to get it on record. This is for President for Dr. Heelan. Mr. Brescher?
Yes?
Ms. Errico?
Yes.
Dr. Heelan?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Ms. Maroney?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Okay, you're good, okay. All right, so it's unanimous.
Yes.
All right, at this time, thank you, congratulations, Dr. Heelan. So if you want to take your seat here.
Is he moving?
Yeah. Yeah, now he goes back to what he usually says.
Higher real estate.
Yep.
Dan's gonna go here.
Then you should move, right?
It's gonna be a fun year.
Vice President?
Yes.
You take nominations.
Okay, we have Vice President. For Vice President, we have the nomination are open. Can I nominate? I can nominate as well, right?
Anybody can nominate.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Beth Maroney. Any second?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Chevy?
second Beth Maroney.
Okay. Any other people who would like to be nominated to be Vice President? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the nominations.
Make a motion to close?
Second.
Okay. Okay, this is the vote for Mrs. Maroney for Vice President. Mr. Brescher?
Yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
Dr. Heelan?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Tell me
Mr.
when to
Maroney?
say yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ward?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. Congratulations, Mrs. Maroney.
Thank you.
Electricity's coming soon. Okay, next we have the approval of the parliamentary procedures. We need a first and a second for that, Mr. Errico and Mr. Shi.
Okay, now the vote will go by order of seniority, with the newest people being first, and the president and vice president will be the last two. So this is for the parliamentary procedures. Mr. Brescher?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Tell me when to say yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ward?
Yes.
Mrs. Maroney?
Yes.
Dr. Heelan?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, at this point in time, we have public comments on the resolutions only. Anyone from the public wishing to make comment on the resolutions?
I just want to point out on the resolution for the depositories, now that you've been elected president, I want to put your name in there under where the president would sign, okay?
Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comments and just have a vote on the meeting dates and on the designation of depositories for the signatures. We need a first and a second. Mr. Errico and Mr. Shi.
Mr. Brescher?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ward?
Yes.
Mrs. Maroney?
Yes.
Dr. Heelan?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And next we have the adoption of the state mandated code of ethics. We need a first and a second. Ms. Prasad?
It's a vote, right?
Mr. Errico. Okay, maybe if the board secretary would read the code of
Yes.
ethics?
Yes, and the reason why the state requires us to read them is to make sure that everybody has a clear understanding of what the code of ethics are, and each one of the board members has to sign a declaration that they received it and understand them, and will uphold them. The first one, I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought only through legal and ethical procedures. If anybody has any questions about any of these, just let us know, and either myself or Mr. Silvestro will explain it to you if you don't understand it. Okay, second one, I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing. Next, I will confine my board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, and will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them. Okay, next. I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are run well. Okay, next. I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board. Next, I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups, or to use the schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends. Next, I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and, in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its schools. Next, I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer. Next, I will support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties. And last one, I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution. Okay. So those are all the Code of Ethics, and everyone has a copy of a certification that you have gotten, received a copy of them, and that you understand them. And if you can sign those and send them over to me and get them to me by the end of the day, I'd appreciate it. And now we're ready to take a vote on it, because we already have a motion and a second by Mrs. Maneker and Mr. Errico. So here's the vote for the Code of Ethics. Mr. Brescher.
Yes.
Mrs. Peng.
Yes.
Mr. Errico.
Yes.
Mrs. Maneker.
Yes.
Mr. Shi.
Yes.
Mrs. Ward.
Yes.
Mrs. Maroney.
Yes.
Dr. Healy.
Yes.
All yes.
Okay, next we have the board members' open discussions. I'd just like to mention myself that we had a terrific opening day at James Monroe. I know a lot of the staff members have been working on it for years now, 2.5 years to be exact, and I think it went very well. And I want to just commend certainly the staff and the teachers and Linda Zapatizny for what they have done in holding the school together through the college of Middlesex County College and going up to St. Cecilia's in Woodbridge, Island. And so coming back home, as Linda Zapatizny would say, to James Monroe School on Sharp Road. So I think it's a beautiful school. I want to commend you, too, for having done it at a reasonable cost. It's less than $20 million for the school, and the most of the similar schools, maybe with another 100 or 200 more, but it would be in the area over $50 million, whether it be Franklin, New Brunswick, where they built them recently, too. $50 million plus is the price tag for schools. And this is a beautiful school, as you can see, and you're welcome at some point to go even to take a look at it. I'd encourage you to take a look at the investment of the taxpayers and I guess you might say the insurance company, too. They had a part to play in it, too. So I just want to say congratulations on all the hard work you've done. I just also like to mention that the school board, new school board members, Mrs. Peng and Mr. Brescia, have undergone orientations. We have done orientations. I went with them to North Brunswick High School. They had an excellent presentation. Good thing someone can't hear me, because with the New Jersey School Board Association, that went over the roles and responsibilities on December 6th, and then again on December 20th. The Office of the Superintendent gave an excellent orientation to the new board members that included Mr. Ralph Barker, the Chief Technology Officer, on iPad and emails, and the budget overview by Dan Michaud, the facility overview by Ken Stromslin, secondary curriculum by Margaret DeLuca, elementary curriculum by Tara Beams, Special Services by Christopher Conklin, Agenda, Policies, Board Structure, Board Goals by Dr. Richard O'Malley. So I think it was a very comprehensive orientation. It's always a little bit overwhelming when you first come in and wonder how you're going to implement this role that you've had and that you've been elected to. But I think it's been a good head start, at least, anyway, in learning the roles and responsibilities. And finally, I just mentioned that in the January meetings, the caucus meeting will be here, of course, January 18th, and at Menlo Park with the new gymnasium and the new classrooms. We'll have the meeting there on January 23rd, Monday, January 23rd for this month. So any other board members that wish to say anything? Yes, Mr. Shea.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate the two new board members, Mr. Brescher and Mrs. Pun, and also our returning board member, Teresa. This is her third term. Be another 3 more years. 6 years, she's already on it. So congratulations to the board members, and looking forward to work with them. And I also want to say a couple of words about the two board members that left us, Lori Bandarowitz and Vida Ayer. Both of them has been on the board for 6.5 years, right, since we moved the election. As you all know, this board position is a thankless job. So kudos to them for 6.5 years volunteering their time for the school and all for the good of the children, and especially for Lori, who chaired a lot of the contract negotiations. I thank them for their service. Now they have some spare time in their hands, so I hope they can enjoy the free time they have. Thank them for the services they have provided in the past 6.5 years. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, I'd like to welcome Mr. Brescher and Ms. Pang to the board. Welcome. Again, congratulations, Mrs. Ward, on being re-elected to the board.
I know
Also,
you said Ward, but I don't know. Okay.
also like to, as Mr. Shee said, Ms. Iyer and Ms. Bondarowitz gave a lot of time over the 6.5 years they were on the board. So I'd like to thank them for their service. And I'd also like to congratulate Beth and Frank for being voted president and vice president. Looking forward to another great year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and we'll do what we can. Public comments, anyone wishing to make any public comment can go to the microphone and give your name and address. Okay, seeing none, then we'll look for motions to adjourn. First and a second, Mrs. Maroney, Mrs. Ward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
We never get opposed.
Meeting is adjourned.